living here, and once in our life, we were children. We were young. We were excited about things happen around our life. Let me pose you a question. When you were young, have you ever hated your dad so much? Well, I did. I hated my dad for probably about 3 months. How did it happen, you may ask? Well, as you know about my life story, my dad was in prison at the time my mom was pregnant, and Dad came home at the age of I was 10.5 years old. So I spent 11 years in prison. When Dad came home from prison, and by the way, I just want to set the record straight, my dad didn't do anything wrong, okay? It's just because both he and my mom worked for the U.S. federal government before the end of the Vietnam War. When he came home, I was 10.5 years old, and I hated him. I thought that he was the problem of my life. I felt like he took away the attention and the love my mom had for me. I remember, if I wake up in the middle of the night, before I go to bed, I want to make sure I'm in the middle of 2 of them. And if I wake up and I'm seeing on the side of either of them, I would jump on my dad and I would hit him as hard as I could. I hated him because to me, he was the problem. He took away the peace and the love that my mom has heartedly, devoutly her whole life for me. No matter what my mother used to explain to me, that now not only you don't lose my love, but you then now have your daddy's love too. Well, it sounds good, but it doesn't look very good. You know what I'm talking about. It sounds amazing, but it looks like they was into his order, and I was the third wheeler. I was like the outsider. As I told you, I told my mom back then, it sounds good, but it doesn't look good. For about 4 or 5 months after, I began to experience not just the sound good, but the look good. The hatred that I had for my dad slowly changed into the love. Because he showed me that not only I didn't lose my mother's love, I now have another love. Sometimes in your life and my life, no matter I was 10.5 years old, or 50 or 60 years old, sometimes hatred and jealousy will blur out the wonderful love that we actually have. Jealousy will cover the wonderful good hearts that God's given to us, so that we don't see things. Brothers and sisters, I'm glad that I grew up in the only child of family. I wonder if you guys have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. How do you guys deal with that? And especially young people nowadays come up to me and say, I don't like my mom compare me. Wow, but your brother that's good. Well, we're different here. And how do the children think? Because if the parents try to make that comparison, the children begin to feel like, well, you love that person more than you love me. And sometimes unknowingly, we try to put into our children the image of hatred, of jealousy, sometimes unknowingly. We separate them. We make them separate from each other. I always wonder this story. You hear this story all the time, but today I'm going to throw you a curveball. I'm going to throw you a curveball today. Have you ever thought when the angel told Mary how wonderful now you're going to receive and Mary said, okay, that's pretty okay. You know, I don't know what I'm doing, but it's all right. But then, this is a funny part that I'm going to throw you into. And then the angel told Mary something that Mary could never imagine that would have happened. Now, Elizabeth, your relative, actually your cousin, they gotta be, I don't know how that works, but in her old age, now you're talking about Mary, a 17 years old virgin, and Elizabeth in the 50s or 60s or 70s, yeah, they're cousins, okay? You see how that works? Now, your relative in her old age named Elizabeth also conceived a son. Oh my goodness, where's that come from? Have you ever seen that, Mary? Not only she conceived a son, but now her son gonna be older than your son because she's 6 months pregnant. I always wonder, how did John the Baptist and Jesus grow up together and fight it? Who's better? Who's better? But the story unveils how, as you know, they love each other. They help each other they in the front of people, they talk good about each other. They don't say, hey, I don't know that, hey, that's bad, that's my little cousin, what you know? And remember, John the Baptist became a celebrity before Jesus was. Remember that. And John the Baptist didn't say, hey, that's my little cousin. Don't listen to him. I know him. You know? It's not nothing. He introduced his friends to go see Jesus. In the other side, Jesus tells the people that being born of a woman, no one ever been greater than that's my cousin over there. You see how they do to us all that? My dear friends, we are in this season. And I know in your heart and my heart is the same many times, you know. There's certain people in my life that we say, oh, I cannot stand that. And many times I just tell God, God, you created that person, you better change them. I didn't create them. Because if I have the power to create, I would not create that guy anyway. So many times we in this season of joy, I want you to bring that joy to the Lord, okay? To bring it. Even the people you don't like, bring it to the Lord and tell the Lord, you did it, you better change it. And let us be honest a little bit. You and I, we know what we ourselves do wrong too, and we don't even have power to change ourselves. Who would think that we have power to change somebody else, right? We can't even change ourselves. There are things that we try to get better, and for 50 years we haven't got any better. And what makes us think we can change somebody else? So as my friends, we are approaching the season of Christmas, receiving Jesus Christ. This last Sunday of Advent, what I'm trying to do today is that I'm inviting you, whatever in your heart, bring it over. Give it to Jesus. Say, Jesus, you did it. You create the mess. Now you deal with that. Or maybe you deal with me because I'm the mess. Whatever that is, allow Jesus to be the reason. Allow God the loner to be the joy. This Tuesday night, I absolutely want to invite all of you. I mean, each and every one of you. Doesn't matter what language you speak, because I got an all for you cover, so you can't say. You speak English, we have English speaking. You speak Spanish, I have 2 Spanish speaking priests. You speak Vietnamese, I got 3 of them. So this Tuesday night, 7 p.m. in this church, we're going to have 5 priests here available for your reconciliation with God. 5 of them. So you don't have to wait. At 7 o'clock, we're going to have a 15-minute service, and after that, we're going to bring whatever we got in the heart, in the mind, the frustration. Let us bring together before the Lord, place on His foot and say, God, this is what I have. Help me to deal with it. Strengthen me so that I can deal with it. So I can receive the true joys that you alone can bring. So that nothing can So my dear friends, that's not just my invitation. But if you allow me as your pastor, I demand your presence. If you allow me, not only I invite you, I demand you to be there. To be at the love of God. To hand everything over to God. And you will see your life will change in a way that is nothing impossible for God. Nothing. You may talk about, I haven't been going to reconciliation for 40 years. Who cares? God doesn't look back on what you do. You go there, you think that you have to tell all the rest, you think God didn't know what you did. He knew what you did. But people forgot about the twofold of the sacrament of reconciliation. Not only God forgive, but the second one, which is very important, is that He strengthened you to do the things that you could never done before. Because we allow Him to work, so everything will be possible. The things that you said, man, I could never done that. Now you will be able to, because God is there with you, and nothing and no one can stop God to do the good that He wants to do in your life and in my life. The question is, will we allow Him to do